The cheap tie around my neck felt like a bad joke the moment I stepped into that restaurant. One of those fancy places where the light's so soft you can't quite tell if everyone's rich or just pretending. I should have been at home, reading to Bella, not here, pretending I still knew how to act like a normal adult. But you make promises to your kid, you know? So I did what I said I would, and walked right into a trap, though I didn't see it until it was almost too late. I spotted her first, elegant, silver wheels glinting beneath the table, hands folded like armor in her lap. Miranda. She turned as I approached, eyes sharp and guarded, and for a second we just looked at each other. Two people pretending to belong somewhere neither of us wanted to be. And then I saw them. Across the room, William Collins, billionaire, the kind of guy whose smile makes you want to check your wallet, and his assistant, both watching with their phones half raised, waiting for a disaster to post online. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about meeting someone, not really. It was a setup, a show for the rich guy's amusement, with me as the unwitting jester and Miranda the target. Collins had always treated me like invisible at the Oak Haven diner, except this time, he'd chosen me for a starring role in whatever cruel little joke he had planned. Every instinct screamed at me to go over there and call him out. But then what? Lose my job? Give them exactly the meltdown they wanted? I thought of Bella, the way she looks at me when I talk about being kind in a world that isn't. So I straightened my tie, squared my shoulders, and walked those last steps like I was on a tightrope. Miranda's hands were clenched so tight her knuckles looked ready to burst. "Miranda?" I said, my voice softer than I'd meant. She nodded, barely. "You must be Dylan." I sat down, ignoring the wheelchair, locking eyes with her. "Sorry if I'm late. City traffic, it wasn't in their script." I could see her surprise flicker for just a second. We ordered water, awkward silence stretching between us, while I could feel Colin's stare burning a hole in my back. Then Miranda tried to play along, asking if I was really a doctor. Her friend Cassandra must have been in on this too, spinning up some fake story. "No," I said, giving a tired little laugh. "I'm a waiter at the Oak Haven." "That's probably where your friend saw me." That's when she got it. The punchline. She started to wheel away, ready to take back her dignity. "Wait," I said, voice low so only she could hear. "Don't go. That's what they want. They want us to leave, to give them a show. Or we could just have dinner and ruin their plans." For the first time, I saw her armor crack. She let go of the wheels. "Okay, Dylan the waiter. What's good here?" The next hour was this weird, unsteady dance. We talked about nothing: bad movies, city life, modern art that makes no sense. Each laugh chipped away at the tension, and I could almost hear Collins grinding his teeth. Then, a bottle of champagne showed up. Compliments of William. The card said, "May you both get what you deserve." Miranda wanted to send it back. I waved the waiter over and told him to send it to a couple in the back celebrating their anniversary. Said it was from secret admirers. Miranda just stared at me, and I shrugged. "My daughter says there's a little good in everyone, even if you have to dig for it." For a minute, I almost believed her. After dinner, I paid my half with crumpled bills. We left together. Not as dates, just two strangers with a shared secret. At the door, I said, "For what it's worth, I'm glad I came." She smiled, really smiled. "Me too." Walking out, I glanced back and caught Collins. Face twisted with rage. He'd set a trap, and somehow we'd both walked out the front door, heads high. Back at my apartment, I found Bella asleep under her old quilt, looking small and fragile in the way that makes your heart ache. She woke up long enough to ask, was she nice? And I told her the only part that mattered. She was strong, and yes, she was beautiful. Bella nodded like she'd known all along. Kids do sometimes. But the next day, everything fell apart. Collins showed up at the diner, loud and smug, and fired me on the spot. Lied to the owner, said I'd harassed a guest. My boss, Sal, looked at me like he wanted to fight but couldn't afford it. I walked out with my apron folded, feeling the world shrink. No job, bills piling up, Bella getting sicker. I was drowning. And then, out of nowhere, a text from Miranda, from a burner number, just thanking me for the other night. I almost didn't answer, but something about it pulled me back. We started texting, just a little at first, then more. She was Mia now, not Miranda, just a woman who liked bad coffee and late-night conversations. For a few weeks, those calls were the only bright spots in a dark tunnel. I never told her how bad it was. My pride wouldn't let me. But she listened, and sometimes that's enough. But the world's not that simple. One night, cleaning offices as a janitor just to keep the lights on, I ended up in the Foster Enterprises executive suite, the CEO's office, decked out for a wheelchair. And there on the wall, a portrait, Miranda. Not Mia, not the art consultant, but Miranda Foster, CEO. Everything came crashing down. The lies, the fake names. She was never just Mia. I was never more than the help. That night, I ignored her calls. But she didn't stop. When I finally picked up, the anger just poured out. She tried to explain, said she wanted to know the real me, not the janitor or the pawn, but the man. But all I could see was the gap between her world and mine. And then, just like that, the real world crashed through. My other phone rang. It was the hospital. Bella was in cardiac failure, barely hanging on. I raced to the hospital. Everything else wiped away. All that mattered was Bella. Tubes, machines, her tiny hand in mine. Dr. Evans said the only thing left was a transplant, and the hospital wouldn't even schedule the surgery without a payment I could never afford. I fell apart, right there beside her bed, promising her I'd fix it even though I had no idea how. But somewhere across the city, Miranda wasn't done. She moved money through so many channels no one could trace it, built a whole charity overnight, and erased every financial obstacle. She saved Bella's life without ever putting her name on it. When the hospital told me, I didn't believe it. Things like that just don't happen. But they did. And that night, they found a heart. The surgery took 12 hours. I waited with Mia, Miranda, on the phone, two broken people holding each other together by the thread of a voice. She told me her story about the accident, the wheelchair, the battles I'd never see. And for a while, all the old pain fell away, and I just listened. We survived together, somehow. Then the next day, Colin struck. Hostile takeover, fake numbers, corporate backstabbery straight out of a bad TV drama. But Miranda was ready. I walked into that boardroom, wearing my janitor's uniform, and told the truth about Collins, about Cassandra the Mole, about their whole ugly plan. Miranda sprang the trap, revealed the real numbers, outsmarted them at their own game. For the first time, I felt like more than a pawn. I was part of the fight. 6 months later, the world looks different. Bella's scar is fading, her laughter is back. Miranda and I, we built something real out of the rubble, an actual partnership, not just between us, but for everyone who needs a break and never gets one. We run the Evergreen Children's Health Initiative now, turning one anonymous miracle into 1,000 more. You ever think about how a story ends? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just keeps going, picking up steam, finding new ways to surprise you. So if you've got thoughts on what's fair, what's right, what's worth fighting for, drop a comment. Tell me where you're listening from. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Let's keep these stories moving. Because you never know when you'll be the one sitting across the table, with the world watching, waiting to see what you'll do next.